Hey everybody, this is Darren Van Damme, and you are watching Flick Connection, the show that helps you get more out of movies. And today I want to give you a spoiler-free review of the new Netflix original film, In the Shadow of the Moon. So In the Shadow of the Moon is directed by Mickle, who I love. I love his movies. Several of them were on Netflix recently, they're not anymore, but they include Stakeland, Cold in July. He's got another horror flick called Mulberry Street. That's actually really cool. That's one of the lower budget ones that he's done. And In the Shadow of the Moon is definitely the biggest budget he has worked with so far. And something to know going into this movie is that Mickle's style is, it's rough, it's bloody. Even if it's not a horror movie, he does not shy away from gore. Now, In the Shadow of the Moon is not a gore fest, but when there is blood, there tends to be a lot of it, and when there is gore, it tends to be pretty visceral. Now, the cast includes Holdbrook, who you know from Narcos and Logan, Cleopatra Coleman from The Last Man on Earth, Michael C. Hall, who everybody knows from Dexter, and Bokeem Woodbine, who I find interesting because he had sort of like this up-and-coming thing happening like sort of in the late 90s, if I recall, and then he sort of just disappeared and then came back strong in the Fargo series. I mean, one of the best characters in that show. While I was excited to see him in this movie, I feel like he's a little bit underutilized, but it's just the nature of the character that he was given. Not a whole lot for him to work with there, but overall, I thought the cast was great. I thought Mickle did a great job, and I really enjoyed this movie. However, I am noticing that it's getting very, very mixed reviews. Now, something to know and just to sort of be aware of is this is a very front-loaded movie. The first 20 to 30 minutes of this movie are really intense. In fact, I'd be happy just watching that first 20 to 30 minutes in a full feature-length film. Now, what you get with this movie is a cop hunting down a serial killer that comes back every 9 years. So the movie jumps ahead 9 years, multiple times. So you sort of get multiple different stories sort of threaded together, and it works well for me. However, like I said, it's very front-loaded. The inciting incident is the catalyst for this really wild sci-fi story. Now, I'm not going to go into detail of the sci-fi elements because I don't want to spoil them. I thought they worked pretty well, and it's just a sign of how good the movie actually is and how well it's put together. Some of the sci-fi elements do seem silly because they seem out of place in what is otherwise a really well-grounded serial killer detective movie. Now, had the entire film been as rich and as exciting as the first 30 minutes, this would have been one of my favorite movies of the year, honestly. It does fizzle out, but not in a bad way. The story works. It needs to sort of go in the direction that it goes, and I'm okay with that. I find that a lot of people, if they don't like the end of a movie, then they don't like the movie. I'm not one of those people. I enjoyed the ride, and I did enjoy this one, but again, it starts off really high, and then it doesn't drop off, it just sort of tapers off towards the end, which is an odd pace for a movie, yet I'm not mad at it. Also, the current state of critiquing film seems to be that if the movie doesn't have some sort of political or social message that aligns with the critics' own thoughts, then it's therefore not a good movie. Critics seem to be forgetting that movies are supposed to be entertaining, and I found this one to be really entertaining. And again, the beginning, the first third or so of the movie was so rich and vibrant and layered. It felt very, very far from a made-for-TV movie, and then ultimately it sort of ended up in that Netflix original made-for-TV movie zone. I feel like had it not, this probably would have been a national theatrical release had it been able to sort of maintain the life that it has early on in the film. So ultimately on this one, you get a pretty strong watch it from me. However, just have your expectations in check. Don't expect a whole lot. And keep in mind, this is a Netflix original movie. This is, you know, in my opinion, a good one. Not their best. I thought it was maybe going to go in that direction, and it didn't quite. But again, I'm not really upset at any of the stuff that panned out. I thought it was all okay. I didn't love it as much as I thought I was going to at the onset. But thank the Patreon supporters. Here they are. If you're interested in becoming a Patreon supporter, there's a link to that in the description. If you've been digging the music I've been playing on the channel lately, there's also a Spotify link to a playlist with all the music that I've been using lately. You can check that out as well. But I will keep making movie reviews as long as you keep watching them. Thanks for checking out this special review, and you will see me on the next one.